A very warm good evening to all the lovely RYPENers. A pyar bhara namaskar from proud president of Rotary Club of Thane Central. And I am joined by a lot of Rotary clubs across India. We have partner organizations like UCMAS and none other than WNS Cares Foundation. And a surprise to all of you, I know in the meantime, a lot of ripeners are thoroughly enjoying the Cyber Smart activity given and collaborated, specially curated for all of you. That is Cyber Smart, and I am so glad. I'm thankful to the entire WNS Cares Foundation team, right from their lead CSR Gazala, their volunteers Charles and Cheryl, but mainly Mrs. Shamini Murugesh, the honorary chief mentor for WCF. And in the last session, my dear ripeners, we understood how to be emotionally intelligent and tame our mind. But now, once our mind is tamed, we will apply it and we will know how to aspire, how to dream with a very special guest. But before it is better that I give out the introduction myself, we see an AV video that the studio shall play.
This is a story of a dreamer and a doer who can sense opportunity in things when others don't, who can turn a thought into an idea, and that idea into business success. A thinker, strategist, problem solver, a builder, a fighter, an eternal optimist, and a leader par excellence. From the bylanes of the city of destiny, Vizag in India, he grew up from the ranks to be known as the turnaround Turk in the world of business. A leader who has been turning professional fortunes around for nearly 3 decades. He wrote the rules in the BPM industry with the first verticalized model. A stalwart who turned around 2 struggling companies into billion-dollar enterprises. Keshav R. Murugesh.
What is really amazing, frankly, to all of us is that a few years ago, all of us thought that this was something that was very futuristic and something that we probably would not be seeing in our lifetimes. But the reality is, it's already here. And today, the excitement for us is that digital technology and the need for transformation is becoming so significant that it is creating a great, exciting future for every one of us.
A visionary who drives over 43,000 of us across the globe to deliver with an unbeatable passion and commitment. Inspires us to outperform. A performer who has taken this company to unthinkable heights. From a stock price as low as $10 to reaching a historic high of $75 earlier this year. An astute business strategist who has created wealth in a company that was written off years ago.
And I said, that's something I could really fix, with a good team and some clear, differentiation being created.
He saw that impossible was, after all, I am possible. An industry architect who is committed to position India as a global talent hub in emerging technologies, nurturing India's digital and innovation quotient. A man who breathes, nurtures, and supports entrepreneurship. A dreamer who can align faster with reality than it happens. An eternal optimist who believes we can together make this world a better place. A man who has regaled us all with his wit, humor, and personal touch myriad of times. Keshav the man, who has truly played winning innings in a game called life. and ensured that WNS is today in a place of pride in the annals of business history.
My dear ripeners, that was one motivating video, and I come to wonder so much in just one lifetime. And this exemplifies the life of Mr. Keshav Murugesh. I'm so glad to have him here. But something from my end. Sir, you have exemplified fortune favors the brave in all senses as we see the video. Also, we see a Sanskrit proverb coming true to life. Vidya dadati vinayam. Vinayat yati patratam. Patratvat dhana prapnoti. Dhanat dharma tatat sukha. That means, my dear ripeners, Mr. Keshav Murugesh is a man who found humility in his knowledge, ability in his humility, wealth through that ability, and righteousness in his wealth. And I am over here happily welcoming Mr. Keshav Murugesh, telling you stories and telling you to dream over here. And I will stop being between the exchange between the students. And, sir, over to you.
Thank you, Saloni. Very good evening, all my young friends here. You know, Ralph Waldo Emerson once said, the only person you are destined to be is the person you want to be. I'm really very excited to connect with all of you, and I must thank the Rotary Club of Thane Central for this wonderful opportunity to be in your midst. My special thanks to Saloni Gule for actually enabling this session. You know, I must say, you virtually energize me, and this is a truthful pun. You must believe me, all of you. Before I say anything more, I really want to congratulate each and every one of you for the amazing manner in which you have responded and adapted to this COVID-19 crisis. You know, you have made the challenging shift to online education and learning and study with absolutely wonderful resilience. You've actually had to give up a lot of your outdoor activities, a great sacrifice, yet you kept yourself engaged. Most importantly, you have also shown a super positive attitude amidst tremendous social constraints. You know, I can tell you it has been a real tough 18 months for all of us. I know it. And frankly, with your resilience, you have climbed the first steps of your future aspirations. You know, the word aspiration holds so much hope, wonder, and possibilities. Whatever be the challenges you see today, the world into which you will be stepping into, you will make a mark for yourselves, and that still holds a lot of promise. Remember, this world still holds a lot of promise for you. As I speak to you, my mind frankly goes back to the days when I was a student like you and I was your age. Without a doubt, they were possibly the best days of my life. And I know it sounds very, very cliched. You probably are hearing, or have heard this statement from all the elders around you. Trust me, I really hear you. Many of you must be wondering, what can I dare to aspire about? And that's exactly how I also used to, think at that time. I grew up and did my education in the port city of Visakhapatnam, as you saw in that video. And as a student, I was always amazed by the fact that everyone was extra respectful to the treasurer of the club, of which my father was the secretary. And when I asked why, they said because he's a chartered accountant. And this, frankly, was what made me aspire for chartered accountancy as my profession. Now, did I fulfill my aspiration in making the choice? To tell you the truth, it was just the beginning of an amazing journey. As I continued with my further studies, I also dabbled in two different businesses. The first was that of being a sub-broker, where my job was to advise all members of the club that my father belonged to, and also my friends on the cricket field, to buy shares of particular companies. And why did people listen to me? Because they all felt, since I was doing chartered accountancy, I would know the subject well. And frankly, that actually instilled a sense of responsibility in me. I must tell you that the 1.5% brokerage that I earned as a sub-broker at that point in time, I used to invest in shares of ITC Limited, not because of any particular insights into that company, but because I was very impressed with the company's advertisement for its convertible bond issue. The ad in those days was very, very catchy. It said, "Meet the new bond thriller in town, ITC Bonds." And it had the picture of a man looking like James Bond standing with a gun and asking people to invest in those bonds. The second business I dabbled with at that point in time was one of selling generators made by Honda. Frankly, I did quite well as a salesman. I'm a reasonably good salesman even today, because I clearly remember that the business picked up very well. And I posted a number of small ads in local newspapers to advertise my Honda generators. It said, "Honda is selling like Bonda." Now, what is Bonda? Bonda is one of the tasty snacks from South India. And the ad worked magically and connected me with many people who quickly understood what I was trying to tell them, particularly the rural folk in Andhra Pradesh. I thought my life was perfect and I was doing great, in my little world. But my mother, who at that time was also the manageress of the Indian women's cricket team, had other ideas for me. Now, she applied on my behalf for a job at ITC. And how did she do that? She spotted an ITC ad for a job in the company's internal audit department and frankly applied on my behalf. A decision that forced me to come out of my comfort zone. And this is the second step for your aspirations, the courage to come beyond your comfort zone. My mother's action was a major turning point, if you ask me, in my career. After that, there was frankly no looking back for me. I spent 13 years at ITC between 1989 and 2002, and they gave me plenty of opportunities to bring out the best in me. I played a key role in creating new business lines, and each one of them taught me new lessons as I saw things through different lenses. After ITC, it was a company called Sintel, and then WNS, which I run today. Both at Sintel and WNS, I was tasked with the challenge to turn around sinking businesses. All through my career, from ITC to Sintel to WNS, I've always grabbed opportunities where I could to tackle challenges, where I could test my ability to think and envision boldly, where I could disrupt the ordinary and deliver extraordinary results with the help of a great team around me. This, if you ask me, is the third step to succeed in your aspirations. Be alive to the opportunities around you and grab them without any fear. Sounds familiar? I sincerely believe in the saying, work hard like as if everything depends on you. Pray harder as if everything else depends on the Almighty. Think about it, it always comes true. You may feel that the world that you will enter as an adult will be far different from the world my generation stepped into. I actually agree totally. COVID-19 has affected lives and business in a never before kind of way. What does that mean for budding youngsters in this audience? Have you seen how every aspect of your life has now moved online? From learning to shopping to speaking to your friends, playing games to paying your utility bills to banking, even consulting your doctors or even doing a meeting like this. Digital is something that will be an integral part of your aspirations. As we move from a digital first to a digital only world, the skills you will require to realize your aspirations in this world will be very, very different, if you ask me, from the world that your parents grew up in. You will need newer skills and knowledge of a different kind to do new forms of work. While technical excellence and a strong engineering culture are crucial building blocks, in my opinion, to develop a very purposeful digital culture, let me give you also a valuable tip. Start with finding your passion or your spark. What is your spark? Then connect it to what I call STEAM literacy, STEAM. Now that stands for science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics. Notice that arts is now taking pride of place with science and technology, and an engineering degree is valuable, but the sense of empathy that comes from music, arts, literature, history, and even psychology, in my view, is equally important for a successful career. A holistic learning approach based on STEAM will, frankly, teach you how to do critical thinking. It will enable you to develop your problem-solving skills and use creative thinking to move ahead, in my opinion. Some of the most renowned innovators hold degrees in STEAM disciplines. I don't know if you're aware of that. For example, the YouTube chief executive, Susan Wojcicki, majored in history and literature. Airbnb's founder, Brian Chesky, majored in the fine arts. Jack Ma, the chief of Alibaba in China, holds a bachelor's degree in English. I talked about newer skills and knowledge that you will need in a digital-only world. One critical skill you will need, irrespective of the careers that you will choose and the lives that you will lead, is cybersecurity awareness. That's the topic of a lot of discussion today. Technology is empowering you and me to stay connected with many people and to do many things. Many of you, I am sure, have expressed tremendous creativity with technology. But this very cyber presence is also exposing us to unfiltered content and making us vulnerable in an unknown cyber world. Cyber safety is thus a very important knowledge and weapon of defense. Make yourself cyber smart as you climb the rungs of your aspirational ladder. The world, in my view, is changing rapidly, but one thing I can say, for sure, is that, from my experience over the years, there are certain fundamental skills, abilities, and habits that will never change. No matter how much the world may change around us. Let me tell you what these are, and you can use them as a booster as you launch yourself towards your journey of success. Stay focused. That's the first. It's very easy to get distracted. Do not lose focus and pursue what interests you. The second, read, read, and read. I frankly love reading. I think I don't read enough, these days, but I still make it a point to read something interesting every single day. You too, frankly, should build a relationship with books and build a reading habit, as it will help you discover, in my opinion, so much more about everything and anything under the sun and beyond. Third, identify your passion. This might take some effort, but the earlier you identify your passion, the more you can focus on following it. The next thing is, don't give in to peer pressure. At your age, the weight of peer pressure can be intimidating, if you ask me. It's okay if you are different, if your dreams are different from those around you. And you are lucky to grow up at an age where you can pursue any career of your choice. Data scientist, singer, astronaut, sports champ. Do whatever your heart desires. Do remember, however, that digital will continue to play an important role in whatever career path you may choose. The next rule, be flexible and adaptable. While I spoke about nurturing digital skills for the future, I think you should also, build the most important skill to thrive in the future of work. And this will be the ability to adapt to changes quickly. Those who can adapt at the best and the fastest, I think will succeed. Next, keep your entrepreneurial mind alive at all times. Don't really look for jobs. Try to create new jobs for other people. Another one I will add on, get a good mentor. I tell you, a true guru will lead you to your inner self and not lead you to himself or herself. Think about that. That's the role of a true guru. Be very conscious of the community around you and of this notion of inclusive growth. Help all around you aspire to be the best version of yourself. By the time you finish your education, finish your work, complete your journey in life, when you step out and look at your next phase and you look back at your life, you will realize that ultimately people want to remember you as what kind of a person, how good a person you were, as opposed to what titles you had. That's an important part. But ultimately, what you are is what you did during the time you were an important person, or you were not such an important person, but became important to specific sets of people because of what you did. So community is very, very important. So the truth, my friends, is you can aspire to just about, anything or everything. In my view, you are on the threshold of an exciting future, only that you will help shape for yourselves. Remember, Mark Twain had said the two most important days of your life are the day that you were born and the day you actually find out why. Think about it. The day you were born and the day you discover why. So like Nike, says, just go and do it. Just do it. You will always be successful, but keep plodding on. Nelson Mandela had said, do not judge me by my success. Judge me instead by the number of times I fell down and stood up on my feet again. Here's wishing you the very, very best in your future endeavors. I also wish, Rotary Club, Thane Central, and all the Rotary Club and my young colleagues great success in this program and beyond. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, sir. That was, if I could, I could have arranged for applause of all the ripeners that are joining us right now. Practically, you spilled the beans of success. I hope all of us ripeners, including me and a lot of parents who are joining us right now, can pick up the pearls of wisdom. And sir, with your liberty, may I just interact a little more with you?
Sure. I look
Uh,
forward to it.
you 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 have been very modest in titling yourself as a salesman while you were discussing with us. We saw you going from a journey of selling the Honda bonds to now selling dreams to all of us of what we can do, what we can aspire, and yes, perhaps we can do and achieve what we are aspiring. But I have one personal question to you. A person who was a boy from Vizag was titled as Keshav then. How and when did he dream becoming the Keshav Murugesh that we see today?
So, Saloni, that's a excellent question, very difficult for me to answer. But I can tell you that all that I had growing up was first and foremost great education, lots of support from my parents and my siblings, and I think very importantly, hunger in the pit of my stomach. Right? That's all that it takes. If you ask me, nobody can see the future. Nobody can say that this is what I am today and I am going to be like this. Instead, you can say, this is what I aspire to be. In my case, I just wanted to be a chartered accountant, nothing more, nothing less. I didn't even know enough about chartered accountancy. And I just, like I mentioned in my story, I just saw that the treasurer was respected a lot. And I said, you know what, if somebody is so much respected because of a degree that he has, I want to do it. I was fortunate. I went and wrote the entrance exam right out of class 12 and passed that entrance exam. I didn't even know how difficult the course was till I entered the course and then started seeing all my reading material. And I said, oh my God, will I even pass this course? Right? But I can tell you, I always had hunger in the pit of my stomach. Fast forward now 30, 35 years, that hunger still remains, Saloni. And I think if you look around and look at people whom other people think are successful, I don't think I'm that successful. I just think that I have worked with some great people and achieved success for myself and for others as well. But if you look around, people generally who are successful never realize they're successful, right? They just keep looking at going from point A to point B. And for me, my next assignment, what I'm going to do next, tomorrow morning, what I'm going to do at the company, that's what excites me. So that's how it is.
So your work should excite you end of the day, no matter how hard or how easy it is. And we also saw that you did not bother how difficult the course was. You very smoothly maneuvered before all of us that you did not bother. You didn't know about the course, but perhaps you have always been a person who doesn't bother how difficult the task is. And rightly so, by the Economic Times, you were titled as India's Disruptor of the Year. And ordinarily, a title as disruptor may be a challenge or maybe a negative statement, but now it has been given out as an award by the Economic Times years on years. So we see there are disruptions that are required in the atmosphere. There are disruptions that are end result of vision, that are end result of one's dreams. And you brought that out not just once, but twice when you spoke of Sintel, when you spoke of WNS, not just spoke, did it. Practically $10 to $75. Where does this courage come from?
That's again a great question. Frankly, I don't think it's courage. From my perspective, it is something that needs to get done. So when I took those assignments, I walked into those assignments with my eyes wide open, knowing fully well that both companies at that point in time were pioneers in their spaces, but actually were doing extremely poorly, right? And actually, that excited me, right? And again, I think an entrepreneur never looks at failure, Saloni. People with an entrepreneurial bent of mind always look at success. They always assume success is facing them. So when I went into Sintel, also it was a pioneer in the space. It was one of the oldest companies there, but the stock price had dropped dramatically. Market cap was very low. Company was locked in the wrong model. I saw that as an opportunity for myself to go in, turn it around, build credibility, build respectability, and in my journey position myself from being just a CFO, right, to one who could be a CEO, right? And the founder of that company took the risk in me. The board of that company took the risk in me. And the most important thing, again, I will say is no person does things like this alone. I think my greatest skill and my greatest talent, I think, is I'm a people's person. So I'm able to get around me the best people that this world has. And while many of them may not be successful in other companies, as a team together, we are like a beautifully created orchestra, right? It is never a team of individual champions. It's a champion team together. You will not hear of many of these names outside of WNS, but together they are a world-beating company, both at Sintel and then WNS. So for me, it is that, when you commit to something, go in with the excitement, go in knowing fully well that you have to make it work. Think through what are the areas you want to focus on. Put a lot of energy and effort into making sure that you are successful, and don't try to do things by yourself. Have the right people around you, because let me tell you, sometimes it's a bit unfair. I get a lot of credit because I have the title of CEO, but actually I am surrounded by people far smarter than me, and therefore I like to share this credit with them, because without them, no organization and no CEO can be successful.
You once again exemplify what true leader means. A true leader is not someone who stands at the back and says, okay, you guys do it. He'll stand at the front and say, hey, come on, let's do it. Every time you speak, we see that happening. And allow me doing this mischief for once, asking you yet another personal question. We know those who know you have also known your love for technology, have also known your love for invention, has have also seen your faith in innovation and investment, not just monetarily but also emotionally into the invention happening. At the same time, once at an interview, I overhear so that you were asked a question: what smartwatch are you wearing? You can, of course, correct me on that. And you say, I'm wearing a smart looking watch. At this juncture, when you're speaking of being cyber smart and cyber secure, we are surrounded with so much of technology and drive amongst the young ripeners to have the best of everything. All right, Apple 12 is launched, the child wants it right away, no matter how important the feature is to him. And here is one pioneer standing before us. He is telling us, hey, I don't care what is the newest model, no matter how much of a brand promoter I may be, but I wear a smart looking watch. I know what to invest where. How do you address that to our young friends?
That's again a very tough question, considering that the audience is so young. So first of all, I will say that without technology and without understanding the basics of different technologies and playing with technologies, we can all become digital dinosaurs, right? So I would encourage everyone who is listening here, the young people in particular, to be very alive to what are the new changes taking place in every business. I mean, you look at retail. During COVID, the whole retail and e-commerce areas completely pivoted to a new model. We stopped going out to buy vegetables, fruits, and things, right? We just went to Amazon, we went to Big Basket, we went to those kind of portals, and we consumed. Those businesses did very well, and we found it so easy to interact on a tablet or a smartphone or whatever, right? So that is going to become much more intense and frictionless. You look at the business of insurance, for example. We don't think that COVID will disappear in a hurry. So if you look at insurance models across the world, now they're changing through technology so much that customers are now interacting with self-service portals first before they interact with people. The day of the insurance agent coming, sitting in front of you and giving you a policy and making all that is, going to disappear. It's going to be completely digital led, right? And I can go on with similar examples across every one of our businesses. Banking, who goes to a bank anymore, right? Everything is a fintech model. Everything is a non-brick and mortar model. And therefore, this next generation will do everything on a smartphone like this, right? That's it. You don't need to go to a bank. You don't need to know the name of your branch manager, and things like that. So to do this, it means you have to first and foremost be alive to what are the changes happening in business models? What are the technologies that are enabling these changes? And what should I therefore do or learn in order to stay relevant and stay ahead of the game? You don't have to, you don't have to own each and every one of these technology assets, right? It's good if you could afford to buy an Apple phone and an Apple watch, please do so, because rather than using it as a fashion instrument, use it to understand what all functionalities it has and use it to make yourself smarter, right? Similarly, I mean, I've also invested as a angel in a very interesting company which recently became a partner of Walt Disney Company. It's a robot called Miko. I would encourage everyone to Google it and look at Google the word Miko, and you will see this is a companion robot which actually interacts with youngsters. 4 years back when I was investing in it, people thought I was crazy. They said, in a country with 1.3 billion people, why would you back a technology and a company that provides companionship when we have so many people to speak to? And I said, no, technology is important, but over a period of time, people may not want to, there are some people who may not be able to interact, face to face with each other and prefer interacting through these models for certain things like lessons, watching movies, streaming, listening to music, stuff like that. That is exactly what has happened. Now imagine what will happen when older people above the age of 75 start using companion robots. Now a new category has been created, Saloni, which was never heard of in the past before. So I would actually encourage everybody to understand what is the DNA of a potentially successful entrepreneur, person, whatever. First and foremost, I would say is this person must know enough about various business domains. So you must be smart enough, read enough to know everything about basics of different businesses. Second thing is you need to know a little bit of technology in different areas. You don't have to be a guru or an expert in every technology. You must know what are the new technologies that will change the world, why blockchain will become important, how cryptocurrency will change the world, what are the other technologies. So you must know enough of technology. You must build commercial acumen, right? Knowing all this and not being able to create value for yourself, your school, your parents, ultimately your company makes no sense. And the fourth very important thing is you must build smarts around yourselves. You must be able to communicate. You must be articulate. The way Saloni, you speak so well while asking me these questions or introducing me. Everyone should be like that. They must have confidence. They must be able to have a 1-minute elevator pitch while interacting with somebody else on an important matter. Instead of explaining it over 15 minutes, if you can do it over 2 minutes, you've got the right DNA to succeed in life. And after that, also focus on making sure you're building the community around you. Finally, I will say, remember, success does not come to you alone. You will become successful if you probably have all of these things and you have a lot of luck as well. But remember, other people also are the wind beneath your sails. In my case, for example, my colleagues, my parents, my family, my children, the kind of sacrifices they made while I was busy doing things outside. My own wife, Shamini, in terms of the kind of things she does in order to stay behind the scenes, but ensure that WNS is successful, Sintel was successful, and as a result, Keshav, Murugesh also becomes successful. I'm eternally grateful to my family, my friends, and the people who work with me.
That is so insightful. And I beg last one question with your permission, if that's okay and your
Sure.
time permits. I know we are already overshooting, but I am pressed to ask this, or rather share with all of them firstly. A father to a daughter and a proud husband. It takes a lot of courage for a man in today's country, even in today's time, to accept that, yes, I have strong women around me, a proud son. And even when talking of Mrs. Murugesh, you have always ensured that you have respected her independent identity. You always say she's not just a wallflower, you know, and I had the privilege of discussing this with you. She's not just a wallflower, she has so many dreams. She can execute so many different things. And this faith in femininity is so nuanced that we see through your actions. In today's time, we see the young generation being in a divide of pseudo feminism that exists. And why I say pseudo is because there is just a lot of hue and cry around being a female and seeking entitlement to a right. Having humanitarian right is another thing, but entitlement to one is another. And here we see a man who takes pride in all the women around him, ensures they succeed with their own merit, and push them towards that success. We want you to specifically give your advice like you would to your daughter, to a lot of female entrepreneurs you're mentoring, or that you perhaps share with a lot of female ales around you, leaders around you, about being a feminist in true sense.
Oh, thank you so much for that opportunity, Saloni. So, first thing I'll tell you very frankly, I really don't distinguish between females and males. For me, both sexes are sexes that are fantastic, that have huge potential, that are unlocked potential as far as females are concerned, really. And smart people will always look to unleash new potential. So that way, I can tell you I'm quite smart. I've understood long ago that anyone who tries to practice differences, in the sexes, really cannot be a smart person. So, if you look at our industry, 45 to 50% of the Indian tech industry is built on the platform of women working in the industry, right? So we are used to it. It is nothing new. It makes immense business sense for us to actually leverage great women and move them to the highest levels of management or highest levels of whatever they can achieve, because women are quite different to men that way, right? They are, generally speaking, very much no nonsense, get things done, are used to multiple complex kind of arrangements, and with ease completing all these assignments without really making a fuss. So from my perspective, all I do is I run programs inside the company in order to unleash more women leaders. So for example, one of the programs I run inside this company is a program called Project Centurion. And why do I do that? Because 45% of WNS are women, but at leadership levels, just like you will see across the world, the numbers reduce and we see more men. So what I'm trying to do is to generate 100 new women leaders who can be elevated to top leadership. Now, these are the things I would recommend people should do. You must actually have specific programs. Talking on alone won't help, right? Beyond that, you must run specific programs in order to enable. The second thing I will say is the differentiation in compensation structures. You must fight a war on that. Men and women are equal, are equally good, are equally capable, and must therefore earn the same compensation levels and get the same opportunities. Women have their own issues, and we must encourage them to come back into the workforce. For example, when they take long leaves of absence. So one of the very exciting things that I am seeing in our industry is the fact that as we move to a work from home culture, and we worked with the very progressive government of India to change the OSP laws and change some of the laws relating to work from home, we are now trying to enable both the gig economy as well as enable up to 100 million Indian women who have a secondary education degree, but who are not part of any workforce because they live in a tier 2 or tier 3 location and they want part-time employment. I think with changes in labor laws like this, we can now bring them into part-time employment, and that completely unleashes a new talent force for this industry. So again, I'll be upfront with you. Be smart. Women are equally or much smarter than most of us. Keep them on the same pedestal. Be smart. Leverage them to the hilt and run specific programs so that more and more of them go to leadership.
I can just applaud, and I may require someone to stop me from asking more questions because it is so exciting to have a conversation with you. You always give out a prism of looking at things and understand and interpret them. No wonder WNS says co-create and outperform, if I'm not wrong. And that is what we see, and we hope that through this journey, the ripeners can also establish that. We have seen you tell us about the entire process of success, break it down, and still ensure that human touch stays within. And I must share something very specifically with all the ripeners. Here we are standing, and here we are listening to a person who not just ensured he was successful in profiteering his company, but also ensured he touched the human lives in the difficulties of pandemic that we faced during the past year, not just through his company, but also through his own initiatives that he and Mr. S. Murugesh had led. So we are expressing through Rotary Club of Thane Central heartfelt gratitude for this humanitarian touch, and no wonder a human being par excellence. Once again, many thanks, sir, for joining
Thank
us.
you. Thank you so much, Saloni, and thank you to all the Rotary Clubs and Rotary Club Thane Central in particular. Before I step off, I just want to say one thing, and that is, success is fleeting, right? So I just want all the youngsters to understand this. If you remember when successful generals came back from battle in Rome in the good old days, right? They were paraded before Caesar on a golden chariot, and a laurel wreath was held above the head of the general. It was never placed on the head. It was above the head. It was essentially for Caesar to remind the general that success is only fleeting, and enjoy that moment of success. But beyond that, right, make sure you are also continuously working to be successful long term. And at the same time, my other advice to all the ripeners is most importantly, be a good human being. Take care of the community around you. Take care of people around you. Take care of your parents, your teachers. That is what ultimately makes the difference between an ordinary person and a special person. Thank you very much, Saloni.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. And dear ripeners, I'm sure You have enjoyed the entire WCF initiative that we had shared with you, and that was cyber smart. There are few more activities that I see you are still pacing up to complete them. We are hand holding with you on the back end. You have the Telegram channel link where you will be logging in, and also tune in for the next YouTube live on the aspect of fitness on 12th of August, same time, same place, the YouTube channel and the Facebook channel. Once again, for the evening, this is me, Advocate Saloni Gule, proud president of Rotary Club of Thane Central, saying tada for the evening.